Why not face Cicero in an ancient Rome Ace Attorney? I feel like Cicero wouldn't be in on the joke, though. Right? I feel like the big problem with putting ancient Rome, right, some AA-style game with Cicero, is that Cicero would not realize he is in an AA-style game and would get very upset at all the shenanigans. Which might be very funny, but... See, that's why Gramps, all you is feed you a pack of lies and take stuff away from you. Oh, really, Mr. Shroud? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? What? Oh no, surely you were given that. Yeah, but you let me keep it after I looked daggers at him for long enough. I went through the pockets and then said, go on then, have it, before telling me to scrap her. Right, Lupin would be in on the joke. Cicero would not be, though. Always pays off giving people who look like you ate them. I can't help feeling that it's going to get you into serious trouble one day. What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc, mine. The music box disc, but Mr. Winterbank said it was practically worthless. I think I'm gonna have another bash. Give him a long guard stare. I think not, Mr. Shroud. We shan't enter Winterbanks again today. Why not? That's not fair. It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Winterbank. Well, that's mine. I had the ticket for this card, and it was in this card's pocket. And there should be something else in all. That's what the wrong corp said, ain't it? Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he? Oh, then that's mine too. Whatever it is. No, she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, it's all your fault, Sholmes. So, what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Ah, they should be taking statements from us too, though. I mean, yeah, probably. But we have big protagonist energy and the plot needs to happen. So, we're just gonna bail. Peace. Good luck. Goodbye. I just would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. Nata. Oh. Wanna come around your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something? Oh, don't take off like that. Oh dear, she's gone. We have the violin back. We have the violin. He returned the viola, and we have his Stradivarius back. Oh, I've been reviling me quite unnecessarily, I might add. Can't help wondering. I thought she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Crazy tinfoil theory? There's a music box secret passage in a house somewhere, and the disc is the key. That is in fact crazy and tinfoil. It would be very funny though. Very well then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. Oh, well, who cares about the viola? And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting! What is it? You shall have to wait and see, Miss Susato. Until later, then. Wait, but the viola is ruined? Well, yeah. Your point being? No one cares about the viola. The viola was trash. 15th of April, 3:46 p.m., Sholmes' suite. Ah, Susie, I'm Runo. Come in, come in. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Oh, goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always? I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Is the surprise a weekend trip to the West Country moorlands? Oh yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. You'll never guess. Look at those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear, it is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny! Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise! Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. We are a horrible influence on this child. She's so animated, it hurts. You're not wrong. Oh yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Really? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everyone. Yes, I see. Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent-and-child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Rudo? You have ever such a funny look on your face. Oh, no, it's nothing. I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes, you're wondering? Am I right? How did you... Oh, Bruno, I can read you like a book. Ugh, this girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind. So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGildy case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although, after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're the best of friends. Oh, what a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. She's mimicking Sholmes. Yes, she is. It's adorable, isn't it? Oh. And I chase her down. And I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There's so many beautiful colors in the world, Ginny wants me taking a whole rainbow. I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you? Yes, that's right. I'd got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Oh, poor Hurley. God. Oh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited. I just hope she does actually come. I'm sure you'll be wondering why it is I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents? Oh, my mummy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Mummy passed away when I was born, and at around the same time, my father... Well, he had to go to a faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on. Oh. Wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together. She didn't mention that before. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's just in the middle chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So, you mean it's true, Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases? Oh yes, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So, Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father? Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest, but that only made me want to look even more. So I opened it up, and found your father's memoirs. Yes, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. But then he told me, that's when I found out that the author of all those accounts was my father. So, Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So, it came as quite a shock when Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy. I mean, it must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say those ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually. I always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he solves a case, it all vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again! It was quite a shock for everyone. You can say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study, so I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris's father, who went to some distant land, and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. The court will now hear the trial of Ryonowski Naruhodo. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University, and the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. Miss Susato. Yes. Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. You think Sholmes' theatrics were partly a means of teaching Iris? Yes. Absolutely. I think Sholmes absolutely, is partly playing up the himbo-dom. He is a himbo still, but I think he is absolutely, exaggerating some of his features just a smidge. Oh, my dear fellows, how good to see you. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? Alternatively, sometimes he's just like this. Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? Huh? My violin? What are you talking about, madame? Oh, never mind by now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demand we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilded's disc. Oh my, then what's it doing here? You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable term for detection, I mean, we'll be even more adept at larceny. Ooh, that would be wonderfully exciting! I'd be your pickpocketing assistant! True to character, TBH. Honestly, fair. And Runa could be a good lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Sissy has such beautiful handwriting, she can write all our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. These three Raven Order. It is currently Ryonowski Naruhodo's turn for the brain cell, and I am deeply worried. It is never a good day when Ryonowski is in charge of the brain cell. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. Sholmes Caramel, 7% solution. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humour me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. See, Nameless Punk, that would be true, right? It's fine when Ryonowski is in charge of the brain cell when we're in court, except that Susato is usually in charge of the brain cell when we're in court. Which is deeply unfortunate, I think. I will tell you that whatever it is, the McGild is down to the yard. Thank you very much. So, hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. As all yours, Inspector. For the briefest moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars, like this. That's amazing! The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably sold for making impressions, but resistant to melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution. Oh, extraordinary. Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Like a house key, for example, a simple press on its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. That is some serious caramel. Yes, it sounds illegal. Sean's over here with a food science degree. You're not wrong. He's got a forensics degree, a food science degree, a professional tinkerer bullshit degree, and severe depression. That's actually really impressive. Have y'all been sleeping on Sholmes? Do you think Sholmes was just a himbo? Did y'all think Sholmes was just a himbo? Come on, the man is a Renaissance himbo. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. Do tell us, Mr. Sholmes, what music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? He's a man with a PhD in Himbosity and science. Exactly. No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know Bruno? Hey, y'all wanted the music box version of the... Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Small protrusions plug the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. But yeah, Barry Mike, as you can see, right, the one that they're using as an illustration does have a roll as the solution of choice for it, but there are ones that made flat discs and then it just rotates, it spins and plucks the comb. So, yeah, they work, it's effectively the same principle as a gramophone would, or a LP, vinyl player would. It's just that instead of it being the record is in a groove that then transmits the signal, it's literal teeth on the cone. So yeah, both are options. This wheel type or this roll type is definitely more common than the flat wheels, but yeah, both happen. The first music box to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. Oh yes. But over time, a new type of player was produced which uses discs, such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Also, we had a nitpick. I mean, I guess the nitpick is I wish they'd done slightly more to introduce the idea that Sholmes is actually capable of being competent a little bit earlier. Right, we see it in the opening cutscene, and then he immediately throws it all away, and then proceeds to troll us for 2 cases. And then it's only just now revealing that he is capable of being competent again. I wish we got little glimpses of that more to really hype up the Sherlock Holmes part of Sherlock Holmes. Now the compliment, this music box arrangement of the theme just slaps. Right. Top tier stuff. Excellent. Could not be happier with having music box arrangements of the themes. And then we need a spicy take. Don't know that I really have anything spicy happen yet. Don't know. The ice cold take is right, we'll come back to the spicy take. I promise I will not forget about it. But the ice cold take here is that it's actually, I don't think at all like wildly out of character for Iris to be around. Like both out of character for the culture and out of character for Sherlock Holmes. Right, out of character for the culture in that some sort of like pseudo-fosterage, right? Because people do travel a lot, someone has to look after the kids. So the idea of a family friend having to foster, effectively, a child in the Victorian period is actually just, to my understanding, reasonably well attested. And so, and the idea of that the bohemian gentleman, Sherlock Holmes, when asked, would take in someone, I don't think is contradictory to Holmes's overall characterization. Now, obviously this game does a lot to make Sholmes less intimidating than Sherlock Holmes is, so it just makes that even more viable. But even if we had a much more serious take on Holmes, I don't think it would be out of character to have at least some child that he is fostering. Well, why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It's wonderful to be able to enjoy music even when no performer is present. But it is the very success of the invention which means that we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. Classic. Another classic. Without any regulation, everyone has made things that are slightly different and all proprietary, and so you can only buy from this firm. The only firm that produces the music boxes that fix a particular firm are the ones made by that. This is one of the reasons why the music box goes obsolete so fast. Because the moment you have something that can be interchanged properly, everyone realizes, wait, this is just better. Wait, this is just better. and thus we have no way of knowing for which particular music box this was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. I see, so that's why... Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But, as you can hear, to no avail. Okay, but this tune actually kinda slaps. Capitalism hurt itself in this confusion. True. It sure did. I actually really like this theme, even though it's technically probably garbage. I'm afraid this one's a little bit less good. Chat. Pain. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one? That's early for you, always taking things too far. But, my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yeah, that's certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Sholmes, you had the brain cell. Did you use your entire brain cell? No, actually, why? I'm not even going to finish that thought. Of course he used the entire brain cell in getting the print in the first place. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows. Still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. You're still betting on him faking his death. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that remains an unsolved case. The murder of the Brickmaker, Mr. Thrice fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. Although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I start getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Why does the little girl have a gun? Because steampunk. Because this is steampunk Victorianism. And therefore everyone has nonsense. I wonder. Boo. I appear to not be able to do that here. Shame. I was hoping to switch into the extras menu and switch everyone's costumes out to really showcase it. We might do that. I might do that at some point. Now, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Winterbank said before. He said he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were incensed as I was. Oh yes, the idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Winterbank's storeroom, gathering dust. Alright, you wanted a spicy take, Wolfie? I got a spicy take for you. This case, for some reason, really loves the Hound of the Baskervilles. My dear madame, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was it safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up. Caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? So, there's the spicy take, right? This game puts a little bit too much stock in the Hound of the Baskervilles as a story. You'll have been guessing that we're going to enact the Hound of the Baskervilles. We are not going to. This case is effectively completely unrelated, except that the contents of the story, the Hound of the Baskervilles, are important. Now, so, firstly, this means it's in 1900. Right, The Hound of the Baskervilles is published in 1901, therefore, if the story is written but not yet published, it must be roughly 1900. But, like, it is culturally significant insofar as The Hound of the Baskervilles was the first Sherlock Holmes story anyone had gotten in like 7 years. It's good, but it's not that good. And so this game kind of, overdoes the adoration of the Hound of the Baskervilles as a particularly important Sherlock Holmes story. Then again, so does every Holmes adaptation ever, so I can't be too salty about it. You'd love to see a Guy Ritchie version of Hound of the Baskervilles? It'd be better than Moffat's version of it. So, we take that. I'd buy a ticket to see that. It would hardly be the worst, because Sherlock exists. And what if we did nothing remotely interesting with that story besides some real nonsense? Anyway, we have another ice cold take. And oh, it sounds so exciting! The Hound of the Baskervilles! I should love to read it. Oops. Susato, I have terrible news for you. It is the longest self-contained home story, Eldritch Horror. Right, because there are 4 books: Study in Scarlet, Sign of 4, Hound of the Baskervilles, and I cannot remember the other 4 of the 4th one. Hound of the Baskervilles is the longest of them. It's also the best of the full-length novels. It's easily the best of them, because Study in Scarlet and Sign of 4 is... Speckled Band isn't a full-length novel. Speckled Band is a short story. Isn't it? Isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's one of the... What is... Where? I'm looking this up. Sherlock Holmes novels. Because it's gonna bug me. It's absolutely gonna bug me if I do not, Because he's got a... The problem is that you try and just look up what are the novels, and it just gives you all of the collections. Let's see. Oh, Valley of Fear. That's the last one. God, I forgot Valley of Fear. Actually, I'm glad I forgot Valley of Fear, because the ice cold take for you is that Valley of Fear is not good. In fact, of the 4 novels, it goes so far as to say, Sign of 4 is okay, though, kind of problematic. And, yeah, other than that, right, Studying Scarlet is just not good because it was the first one. Valley of Fear is bad for a lot of reasons. So that leaves, like, Hound of the Baskervilles is, like, the only good Sherlock Holmes novel. What's going on here? Also, by the way, Susato fucked up. Chat, do you know why Susato fucked up? And can we get a quack in the chat in sympathy for Susato messing up real bad? Messing up real bad. The question is, does anyone know why? Sholmes will stare at you and judge you until you guess why. Quack. The thought running through Susato's head right now. Quack. You don't. Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? You're too scared to guess. Well, that's fair. She said she's very much looking forward to it. The Hound of the Baskervilles. What a lovely story. Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of the Baskervilles? But how could you know the full title? Well, that's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Runo, The Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published. You what? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said he'd keep it safe, until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Winterbanks? And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Miss Lestrade. No. This was a bad idea. I know I won't welcome. I'm going. No, no, no. Stop it. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Iris? Iris! Hurry up! Susato, stop looking depressed. Oh yes, just wait there, Ginny. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come on in. What say you to some Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer. So yes, diegetically, The Hound of the Baskervilles has never been said in-game yet, right? Susato saying it was the first time the title appeared within the text of the game. Right, we knew it was there from the chapter select screen, because it mentions the adventure of the unfinished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. But no one had ever actually said the title until Susato said it. So, tension. Narrative tension. Meddlesome it is, then. She's psychic! Yes! Oh, Wagai. Hello. Oh, kitty. Meow. How did she know it then? Great question. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome. And Gina, as we came to call it, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night. '15th of April, 9:34 p.m. Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Apparently 9:30 at night is well into the evening. I just say it. 9:30 is late? This makes me feel terrible about my habits. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes, Iris' cooking was truly divine. And I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strings of Mr. Sholmes' violin, even now. Best of all, I bet I can steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Please don't do that. Susato, I have terrible news. Oh, absolutely, as past it gets dark. By 9 o'clock it's night here, even in April. But, that's not late, that's just dark. Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something, I wonder? What's the matter, Susato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Ah, the one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Well, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends! Oh, Iris, hello again. And Gina. What's up? And Gina, too! Yes, Ginny's going to stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Ginny? Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. Yes, Ryonowski will hate it. It's green and bitter. You know, I've learned so much today. What in particular? All those things Ginny showed us, wasn't it wonderful? Oh, you mean those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I can earn a living from it. You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Wait, what? That's mine! Iris! Well, however did you? I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it. No, yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though. Ah, thank you. Alright then, good night. Yes, good night. So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny? I think I wouldn't fancy my chances with a lawyer that lives in a place like this. Yes, me too! It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Aww. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time. Please. Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh, no, not at all, Iris. Not at all. I don't know what this is all about, really, but... It's a story you made up, is it, Iris? This mantle script or whatever you call it? Oh, I'm this dude with the 2 gifted subs. I appreciate it. Alsadef, Reed, enjoy your emotes. It's not exactly a story that I made up, it's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once, his partner. Ah! I solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is that right, mister? Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So, where's the old man now, then? He had to go away on urgent business, to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So, I've never really met him. Oh, right. You come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Iris, this Hound of the Baskerville story. I take it that's another tale inspired by your father's accounts? That's right. I thought it was fascinating. You had to get work on the farm up country. Exactly. Smart. But it's different somehow, from the other cases, I mean. Huh? How? I don't really know, but it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris. But this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. But why not? It's one of my best works. Not at liberty to say. Not now. So please, do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Winterbank, isn't it? Yes, Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. She's 10, Gina! She is a child! By any metric, she is a child. Maybe there's some unresolved threads? True. Maybe a few, but, you know, the 5 orange pips was referenced and that had nothing but unresolved threads. So, you know. I'm not sure we can strictly chalk it up to that. It's mean, that's what it is, keeping secrets like that. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. Ah, if he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so too. You lot, you trust him for your own good. But you can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it. What? Oh, he's lying to me. Rena, what are you doing? Oh, I'm not gonna steal nothing, alright? It's all junk anyway. Charming. Suppose I should engage our guests in conversation, really. I was just gonna make more tea. Come on, Gina. I've realized I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Oh. Look, these head's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born. Not even our mums. But we all stick together. You're the ones who look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Nah, that is my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it. Oh, Gina. What do you think about it sometimes? What would it be like to have parents, I mean? I always thought it'd make everything right. But I don't listen to what Irish just said. Sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. I mean, Blues, it's not exactly a spicy take, being redeemed here, but, oh man, they are so good at traumatizing all of the characters. Literally everyone in this game is a victim of severe trauma in all just depressingly attested ways, right? From death in childbirth to travel to just the harshness of living in Victorian London as not one of the elite. It's all done quite well. Right, and this is, I think this is the reason why I love this game so much. Right, because this game is a rather goofy court simulator that happens to be set in a historical time period. But they put so much work into that to get the essence of the time period that even though they paint over it with steampunk, right, there's a little bit of like Victorianism, Victorian reception going on. But the core of it, the core of all the characters, are all archetypes that are really well known from Victorian literature and from Victorian history and Meiji history. And so it's all grounded in such a human way that the fact that everyone also happens to be a himbo doesn't end up working against the game, but rather providing some much needed levity to really make the game have emotional arcs. And that's really smart of it, and just, it's one of the things I love about this game the most. Oh! I mean, if you know you never had him, you don't feel like you always wanted to meet him. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, Iris. Chat, I have really bad news. Gina, what did you mean? What you said when, like, you know, Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, he reckons he posted that mantle script or whatever, right? Ah, come on. That's obviously a load of rubbish. And why did you think that, Gina? It's simple. Our story was really an all-Winterbank story. And now when someone halfway around the world, and I was you, can know about it. Ah. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Early would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Ryonowski do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, the lot of them. You just don't realize it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Winterbanks. You'd see it if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris. You can't see Sholmes selling anything Iris made? True. Honestly true. The man is a softie. He is pure of heart. If he may be the smartest of the himbos, but he steals the himbo, and that means pure of heart, dumb of ass. Oh my goodness, look at the time! Come along, Ginny, we should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, would you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. Sherlock, from what I remember, really cared about Watson. That's true. The couple times Watson gets almost shot, or actually shot, right, the Red-Headed League is probably the clearest example, where Watson nearly gets shot, and Holmes just, like, drops everything and rushes to him. Windibank said it was there, so you think it is. You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist. Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night, then. Iris, it sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down, she's still just a child. She's 10. She is this tall. How can you forget? Well, if you saw that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father. But also, the name of the murdered visiting professor at UMA University. It can't be a mere coincidence. Well, let me be honest, John H. Wilson is not exactly a rare name, Ryonowski. Let's be very honest with ourselves here. Not rare in the slightest. Can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. Mr. Naruhodo! Mr. Naruhodo! That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on? It's the middle of the night. It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not. From speaking to her before she retired. Sure, the amount of children involved in Ace Attorney cases are crazy. Maya, Pearl, crap. God, why can I not remember? Lana. Yeah, but Sholmes would 100% know about all this and be like, I must help this poor boy, it's what my best friend would want. Exactly. Right. Lana Sky. Well, there are more children involved. There's a lot more children involved. Arguably, like, let's see. I guess those are kind of the main three, aren't they? Maya, though Maya's technically an adult. Let's give credit where credit is due. Maya is technically an adult. Oh, I forgot about Trucy. I completely forgot about Trucy. I should probably not forget about Trucy. Anyway, I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. Now, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me, look out the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night? That's Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Windibank's... Oh no! It's simple. Our story was really an old Windibank storeroom. There's no way someone halfway around the world. In other words, you could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but he sold it. Without telling you. Could Gina have gone... It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once. Miss Susato. 1:14 a.m. See, this is quality middle of the night. The door to Windibank's. It's open. And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is! Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them! Go! Right! Blast! I've lost them! Hello, are we here? The alarm was just raised from those pawnbrokers, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Winterbanks.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Naruhodo!
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina!
Repeating. I'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. After them! Go! Behind that door. Behind that door! In the storeroom! Hurry! It's Gina! Well, whack. From that moment, Winterbank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn that I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. Oh, Iris! A telegram came, but all it said was, wait at home. Oh, yes. We asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. When I woke up, I was all alone. Ellie and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Bruno? Poor Iris. She's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something awful has happened, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid so. It's spring at last, and the weather's warmer now. I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, how about some tea, Reno? Thanks, Iris, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time, and Iris's unique herbal infusions. This place is paradise for a true tea lover. If you're sure, you always know I have plenty whenever you're feeling thirsty. Oh god, this poor child. Okay, let's actually talk to her first, and then we'll look around. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Winterbank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did? When I saw the police carriages pulling up outside his shop, so I knew something must have happened there. When we entered Winterbanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street, and I chased after them, but they got away. So, it was one of them who shot old Mr. Winterbank, I suppose. I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina. Ginny? But why? Well, the thing is... No! Ginny wouldn't do something like that! I know! None of us think she did it. Then why have they arrested her? I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do. So, where's Hurley then? Is he still investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. Don't open like Ryonowski. It's a word of advice. Never open a news with, I don't want you to worry, but. I don't want you to worry, but is right up there with, so, as just really never good news. Nothing good comes after that sentence. He was taken to the hospital this morning. What? Well, when we entered Winterbanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet. Hurley was shot! No. It's alright. His life isn't in danger. Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital? He's at St. Sinner's. They're tending to him there. I must see him at once. I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't. Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed. No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see. To operate? Oh, poor Hurley. It was the two thugs who were here in Mr. Winterbank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes while we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them! Go! After that, I ran out into the street, but, well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I let them get away. I think that's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. No, Iris. Where's Susie Bruno? She's still at the police station. Oh, why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Why aren't you there then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Miss Susotto stayed behind at the scene to attend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early. You should have let me know and I would have come to the station. I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the two thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they? No! I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris. Ah, this is all so horrible. The thing is, Mr. Winterbank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. Not again. Not again. I see, but he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no! And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards... Don't tell me, there was no one else in the room? Yes, exactly. How did you know? It's the only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. What do you mean by that, Reno? Well, what can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't. Another locked room mystery. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment, but I can at least try and find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Runo. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder, but I don't want to leave her all alone here, either. Oh, yeesh. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me? Oh yes, I'd love to. Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. Alright. I need Iris's take on the shovel spade discourse. That spade has been in here since we started renting the space. Runo, that's not a spade, it's a shovel. Ah, you're a shoveler, are you? I had a feeling you'd pick me up on that. Oh no, a pick is something else entirely. And now I've dug myself into an even deeper hole. So this is the tea set that Miss Susato brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she doesn't notice me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Susie's lovely green tea has had quite an impact on Helly, you know. He stopped putting milk and sugar in his coffee even. And Helly is normally bitterly opposed to bitterness. We've only been in here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. Helly's desk is far worse, you know. I'm sure if I try hard enough, I can make my desk as messy as Mr. Sholmes'. I wonder. You don't think I can? Well, it takes a certain genius to reach that level of disorder, you know? The path to true mess is long and arduous, it seems. Fabulous. Oh, yes. Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it. Not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. Now, let's see. No, what did I just say? You mustn't open it. Oh, don't worry, I won't. When a special concoction I've developed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. No, that's not allowed either. Oh, but I'm sure it's something important. Little geniuses sure can be mischievous. Do you know, I've never seen inside Miss Susato's room. I haven't so much as put my head around the door. Oh, Susie often invites me up, it's so much fun. Really? What's her room like? I can't tell you that. Oh. A young lady's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Where have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same the world over. We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the anemones too. Apparently tanks like these were very popular in London before I was born. Oh, you mean they're not anymore? I think people discovered it was too much effort to clean them out and change the water all the time. Well, good thing we have since developed self-circulating systems. Little bubblers. I can believe that. Prawns and anemones are fun. For a while. Well. Good job, team. Our office is excellent. I love that Iris is just like, yeah, let's be... very silly. Now I want to get Iris's take on literally everything. Because I can. Look at Mr. Sholmes' desk. It's completely clear. It looks totally different without that enormous machine on it. Henry lives in an absolute mess all the time. He never notices when things go missing. If Mr. Sholmes must have noticed that huge lump of metal is no longer there, surely. Well, yeah, he pawned it. Ah yes, the letters V and R inscribed on the wall in bullet holes. Isn't this the initials of the Queen or something? That's right, but Hurley isn't a very good shot, sadly. Can't remember how many times he had to replaster the hatchet wall before he managed to make the letters. Is he a patriot or a plasterer? Rolled. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple over at any moment. Yes, Hurley does tend to overload the shelves. That's one way of putting it. He wanted to look something up in one of those books the other day, you know. But it was so tightly crammed in, he gave up and went out to buy a brand new copy instead. Now, really is Mr. Sholmes' faithful performing partner then. The Strapifari? Oh, no, it's no good. It's gone. The virtuoso's violin I found at pawnbrokers and managed to buy for next to nothing. I hope Hurley gets well soon. I miss hearing his violin playing already. Oh, Iris, I'm sure he will. Strad. It's an unusual way to make us use of a huge metal chest as a table for tea and coffee. But it is a very sturdy box, and I've noticed that's always locked. Oh, well, that's because that box contains some of my most important things, which you have no intention of telling me about judging from a guarded smile. The fire's burning comfortingly in the grate again today. It's a very different feeling to a Japanese hibachi somehow. Hurley's been working on his disguises recently. He's been dressing as a woman mainly. Really? Mr. Sholmes? Dresses in women's clothes? Yes! You see the lady in that photographic print on the mantelpiece? That's Hurley! He's quite stunning. Mr. Sholmes says trans rights? These are all mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from La Carnival would be on display here. Hurley says that Wagi is a memento too. What's it? How? He tried really hard to get the little fella to stay on those shelves at first. But he had to give up in the end. Wagi just wouldn't keep still. Yes, funny that. Who could have guessed? Now we need a nitpick. I don't know that I have a nitpick yet. Or not quite yet. We'll get some. We'll get some, but... Yeah... This is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? Let's see, what does it say today? Ah, the Boscon Valley mystery. We visited Boscon Valley recently for a picnic, you know. You see, but I forgot to bring the tea. So when Hurley became thirsty, he decided to drink from Boscon Pool, giving himself an awful tummy ache. Oh dear. Hurley sat there, miserable as he can be, in that field of flowers after that. Just like when you saw him yesterday. That really is an unsavory tale. Fabulous. 10 out of 10 no notes. You know, no, nitpick. Why the hell is this math? Why are his story notes math? Your beautiful tea set is there on the table as usual. A cup of one of your special herbal blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain. Oh, poor Hurley, he hasn't had a drop of tea today. I wish I could take them to the hospital for him. Aww. The trick is to not want Wagga high on the shelf, then he'll stay there for sure. True, but he'll probably knock everything else off the shelf, and I don't think the apartment could take that much mess. That's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too. But the contents of them aren't quite so charming, it seems. I'm so close now, I've nearly developed a rainbow smoke grenade, you know? So you're still working on those colourful but fumey explosives, are you? I tell you what, when I've perfected it, I'll fire the first shot at you, Bruno. What an honour. Come to think of it, I haven't seen you doing much writing recently, Iris. There's paper already set up in the typewriter, I noticed, as if you're about to start. I'm a little bit stuck for a new story idea, actually. Well, you consider using what happened to Mr. Knotsmith, perhaps? Oh yes, that's a fabulous idea, and a great title has just popped into my head as well. The Adventure of the Catty Man. How's that, Runo? Not bad, not bad. Alright, let's move. Let's go take a look at Sholmes. Sholmes! Sholmes, how you doing? Ellie! Oh. He's not here. No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she? Oh, I know what's probably happened. Ellie was being a big baby. And well, it wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe or not, there's no question it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered. Oh. Hello, what over here? This water's off limits, now visiting. So what are you doing in here? Well, I'll have you know, we're Hallie's next of kin. Well, beg your pardon, ma'am, sir. Well, lady, curious ladies and gentlemen, the great mystery solver has a mysterious family, eh? If that's how you see us, sure. Where is he? Where is he, Constable? Where's Hallie? Our lady's currently in the operating theatre, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation. Extensive? It has been several hours since he went in. Oh dear, is he going to be alright? Well, doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is. Oh, I have a report that the gentleman claims he may have had a little too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Sholmes! Look, just because I had a second cup of extra fortified coffee today doesn't mean you should emulate me, Mr. Sholmes. Anyway, they're going to be fed soon. They won't be back here for several hours yet. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we shall leave and come back later? Him Boscon is greater than drugs. Oh, poor Hallie. Wee. There's a notice board on the wall here. Look. Let's see, what does it say? Thought of the day. On seeing any vermin, calmly and discreetly inform matron. Oh yes, they have rats and mice in hospitals like this that love to feast on all the medicine. If you don't deal with them, then there's nothing left to treat the patients. That's the least of the worries. Rats and mice? Oh, I see. This is a rather old building, I suppose. But the doctors and nurses are all very good, I hear. I certainly hope so, for Mr. Sholmes' sake. Right. You know, actual thought of the day. So, obviously, sanitation, not so much a thing in the 19th century. Modern cleaning, not so much a thing. There's a lot more moving the dust around than actually getting rid of the dust. That means that, you know, pretty much everyone think had to deal with rats and mice having infestations. Thing is, they're real bad. Especially in a hospital situation. Problems are kind of fourfold. Probably. We'll see when I finish that sentence whether or not there were actually four things or whether there were more than that. Thing number one. They eat stuff. They're going to shred up any paper supplies you've got. If medicine is wrapped up, especially any herbal tinctures or things that are, you know, less toxic. You know, rats and mice are not going to go after, say, you know, formaldehyde, arsenic, cocaine, still cocaine. Or even really, like, opium, right? They're not going to go after your morphine, they're not going to go after your opiates, they're not going to go after any of that stuff. They're not going to go after your mercury, your arsenic. You know, your things that'll murder them very dead. But they will go after your herbs. And so if you're using any herbal infusions, especially to help purify water, those will be at risk. Anything that's wrapped up in paper, anything that's weighted, could get shredded, right? The big damage is, right, powdered things were wrapped up in brown paper packaging when they were weighed. Rats and mice will shred the paper to use in their nests. This will in fact ruin the powder because it will spill everywhere. Problem number 2 of rodents. They carry fleas, etc. That means that they're vectors for several other diseases, probably not sanitary, and also, you know, someone's in the hospital for something else, you don't really want them to get fleas or lice. Probably not a good look. Thing number 3. Their waste and their corpses end up being real helpful for other things. Insects, bacteria, molds, etc. This is probably the biggest problem, because an infestation will happily exacerbate the problem and cause a host of other infections. And thing number 4, if rats and mice can get in, so can other things. And you don't really want those other things. I managed to come up with 4 unique things. Isn't it great? This must be Mr. Sholmes' bed. Poor Haley. I know, it looks as stiff as a board, doesn't it? Oh, I don't think that will bother him. No? I'll have to find him asleep face down on the floor, completely dead to the world. I think I'd call the police if I discovered something like that. I wonder what these are. Do you have any idea, Iris? Oh, have you ever seen crutches before? Let me explain. They're for people with leg injuries to help them walk. You'll one under each arm, you see? Oh, you're right. I thought they were weapons of some sort. Why would there be weapons in a hospital? But maybe a fighter had been injured in a battle contest and been brought here along with his weapons. That's surprisingly plausible. Oh dear. Well. Terrible news, everyone. I mean, I know how to use them as a weapon. So do I. 16th of April, local prison, cell 13. Gina. Hello, Gina. No. Hang on. How was that not confiscated? Gina? Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Helly and I made. I wish you wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for? Ginny, I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry? You lad, get lost. Don't be like that, Ginny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't. You think you know me? Bully or what? Oh, you might got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking in the street. That's how I get by. If I saw me chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just see what I can lay me hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am. But Ginny, I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. Some guy came by here before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or the like. So was my right or something. I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one. She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried. Gina? Don't be like this. Why are you being like this, Ginny? Excellent question. What happened? I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away? He wanted me to sign some papers. Representation papers or something like that. It's all gonna be rigged anyway, the whole trial. They'll blame it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. I think the Japanese have a word for how Gina is acting. I believe it starts with a T. And the rest of chat helpfully finishes that word. She's being very tsundere right now. What do you think of that? Well, that's how it's always been for me growing up in the back slums, my whole life. If you do what the pros tell you, it'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers, or worse. I've had that happen to me before, no. Been sold out nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one, that's the point. Says you do, you're going to grass. Dead. Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could... Forget it! Ginny, don't you trust through now? Nah, I don't. I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone. No. Absolutely not. 0 out of 10, there is no chance in the world. Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night, at the pawnbroker's. There's nothing to tell. I figured they'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. They all walked to me, and you know the rest. But why, Ginny? Why would you do that? I know, obviously the place is full of stuff I could tell for showing it to. Driving ain't easy now. It's a lot of work, and half the time you don't even get none. Is that really why you broke into the place? What? Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Oh, give it a rest. What would be the point anyway, ah? Nothing I can say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Ginny. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me, don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to lies, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. Well, what do you mean by that? What's unforgivable lies? God. Jeff, can you guess it? Well, I get a drink. Does anyone have a guess as to what the big lie is? Well, not... you know what I mean. Oh god, Jean's voice is just not good on my throat. Actually, doing multiple children in two very different British accents is quite rough. At McGee's trial? Yeah. Well, did you ever find, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help. Sorry, we're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Ginny, please. Yeah. I wanted to give you this. Someone to remember me by. A photographic print of a really adorable cat. I'll find out one of the pockets of this cat. Ain't no point me having it. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in the pocket of that overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Hey, Ginny. The white cat photograph has been entered into the court record. Alright. Well, court record. Gina, did you even look at this? This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks a little like Bogahai. I always thought that cats like to curl up inside under the Hidekotatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe British cats are different. Kitty. Look on the back of the print here. There's something written on it. 13th February, 9 PM. Article deposited 1 small box. Line amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th April, 9 o'clock PM. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket? 13th February? That could be significant. That was just 2 days before the murder on the omnibus, wasn't it? A small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it? Bruno, if Mr. McGildy still had the ticket, then presumably he never redeemed the article. So do you think the box might still be present somewhere in the shop? Oh, yes! If it's something McGildy deposited, we need to investigate. Yup. One pawnbroker's thing from Windibanks. Gee, I wonder if that's significant. Back to Baker Street, let's go. Hello. How are you doing, sir? There's still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Windibanks. I never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. Poor Iris, she's very upset by all of this. I'm sorry, I was there. I should have done more. I know this is your fault, Bruno, so please don't apologize. But it's the criminals who have to blame for all this, so let's investigate and work out how to catch them. Yes, you're right. Alright. How's that? It's already been 2 months we've been taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. When Henry comes back home, let's have a big party. That's a great idea. I'm sure it won't be long. Mr. Sholmes is very tough. Yes! Let's go. Windibanks. How's the situation? Situation is bad. Record says the situation is not good. This is what had happened then, last night. That's right, the two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place, looking for valuables. But, apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance. No, you're right about that, actually. In fact, if anyone, it's the police seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals all dressed in black. Oi! I had that! Sorry. Oh, Inspector, good morning. I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind? Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you assigned extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty. Yeah, your ladyship! No one told me you were coming. I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley and see he has the very best medical care. Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are tending him as we speak. And I don't think it's Rio's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job. Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am. As you say. The gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that. Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about the personality change. Well, be honest, are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice refreshing fruit juice? Oh, why, are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some nice special herbal tea with me if you like some. Ah, lovely. Don't very much, that really hit the spot, your ladyship. I don't even recognize him like this. You don't get to drink at the scene. Look, we are in the lawless wastelands of Victorian London. They will do what he likes. And honestly, is he going to tell Iris no? You're going to tell a 10-year-old kid that you should tell a 10-year-old. You should absolutely tell the 10-year-old kid no. So, how's the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. Very simple case like this. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge that diver we arrested last night, in fact. Gina, you're going to charge her? Are you going to take the man's fish and chips, his only friend in the world, away from him? That's right. You'll be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow. Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me. Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid. Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you? What the? And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you? How could you? How? How could you possibly know that? His only friend, the infinite kind of fish and chips. I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me to never trying to keep a secret from Iris. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you? Ryonowski, I have terrible news for you. You are keeping a secret from Iris, and Iris is just too nice to pry. Well, yes. Now rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat. And Mr. Sholmes is being held at the prison. She should be. I assume she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. Well, I know he's being operated on as St. Sinners. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's Oswald's policy. No visiting at all. Oh. The bull must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood. No. It didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so, but damage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, he's having an emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding. But he will be alright, won't he? They'll be able to make him better. Of course, your ladyship. It'll be right as rain before you know it. Really? How do you know? How do I know? Well, yeah, because, of course... Oh yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why. We'd better pray... We'd better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again. Oh dear, please don't die, Harley. I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear it's out of the operating theatre. Well, at least we're late enough, probably, almost certainly, I hope. That they've abandoned the idea that the more blood that comes out during the operation, the healthier the patient will be at the end of it. Cause, oh boy, 30 years before this game? 30 or 40 years before this game? Sholmes would be in a lot of trouble right now. But luckily medicine made pretty big strides forward between 1860 and 1890 question marks. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? With his sunshine? Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch the sauce, honey. I'm a copper and we don't go down for favoritism. But you're right, you do treat it differently. It's because of those Adventures of Sherlock Holmes stories. That's why. Oh, I corroborated him, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson. Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the Inspector, Iris? I don't remember, really. Along Sholmes' lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yard, is how I put it. Oh, did I write that? I know what the one did for me? Various month my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell ya! Oh, that's amazing. Well, because everyone at the Yard reads them. They all read the Sherlock Holmes stories. They even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time you became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? All it takes is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregson? Nah. A great detective will say. He's getting quite overrated these days. Think about what happened to my salary if that came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I have lost to worrying about it. But that would never happen, Gregsy. Every month when the new Rants magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn up the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. Chug, 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 chug. Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. Tea totally. Oh, yeah. There's something else I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruto. Yes? What is it? I got an important message for you. Clean forgot about it until now. An important message? I wonder what it could be. You had to make me click on the button. Are you going to tell me what this important message is, then, Inspector? Ah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side, your assistant. Dear Susie, is she alright? She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe. No, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To the Stronghold's office, of course. We summoned her. Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. Well, the West Dogs took her there in the yard carriage after we'd finished questioning her. But she asked us to tell you she did have a path for the return journey to go and meet her there. She's got a nerve in Scotland Yard as a blooming messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go see the Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me. But I better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. Well, alright. I suppose we ought to actually go take care of that first, and then we'll look around. Yes, no matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at the suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust? Yes, thank you very much. There they are, Suzato-san and Lord Strongheart. I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious. Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. Wait, what did he just say? You'll return to your homeland? Susato-san! Oh, Mr. Naruto. What was that all about? Ah, Mr. Naruto, thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What's all this about? Why are you talking about Mr. Sato's return to homeland? And tomorrow? Tomorrow? What about Ginny's trial? You mean... she's been formally charged now? Oh dear. We're just not going to... Strongheart? Strongheart? Miss Susato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruto. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life can continue just as— That's not what I asked! What happened? Why are you leaving? My father, he's fallen ill. Oh no! Professor Makotaba? If I may. Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant. Ryonowski Naruto, I believe? Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Makotaba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news. 10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. Since he grows weaker day by day. I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely. And we'll leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. So, Gina has been charged? She'll have to appear in court? Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later? Gina. The Lestrade girl and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker. Yes. An all too conspicuous case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. Now, the yard is overstretched as it is, without wasting time on these open and shut cases. There's no wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that. Mr. Naruto. Oh, yes, Lestrade? In deference to your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of visiting a child into my office. Leave, now. Of course, Lestrade. Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford to take the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetuated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend. Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday. There's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. 3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me. There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart, which is, it's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her? A timely suggestion. Sorry? The girl currently has no representation. But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial. Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right. Why would she do that? A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. You'll find her at the local prison. Yes, thank you. Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. What a day. Gina charged with murder, Susato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie... You're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. That's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. Alright, investigation time. If I'm honest, this does completely throw me off. I'll just have to do what I can, as a lawyer. Well, back to the prison. Another spicy take. Once again, I'm not really sure I have a lot of... I know a lot enough to be able to really bring this heat on this one. Right. Because, right... We've already talked about the story, and the story's got the... Behind the Baskervilles is going to take a back seat for a hot second. And thus far, there hasn't been a whole lot to specifically ruin people's days, or ruin my day in particular, because, right, there is a public defense in London at this point, historically, so that's fine. Sholmes getting shot is fine. Probably, maybe, I hope. And we haven't had a chance to really investigate the robbery yet, so... There's something weird. Did prison still use wall chains at this point? I have no idea. They don't seem to be actively using them, but whether or not they'd be uninstalled from an old prison is not the same question as whether or not they would be, used. So, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. If you look at any of the, like, old prison-turned museums in London, they'll almost certainly say yes. But I don't trust any of those museums farther than I can throw them, which is not very far because buildings are very heavy. Ah! Hello again, Gina. Not again. Did you unloaded the thing from last time and now you're doing it again? What are you loading it for now? To have the muzzle of the grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition into that thing, don't I? Look, you can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Farewell? Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, you're right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a clump parting indeed. Poor Iris looks so miserable. Susie. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. But put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you. Well, it's my fault! Yes. So I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now. I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith that they've invested in you. Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Mr. Magnus McGilded was acquitted? The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in the trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Will you tell us about it now? Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The cops got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilder was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I didn't have the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing, and then I had that lot of blood, like someone falling on the floor. And that's when Mr. McGilder discovered you? Yeah. He pulled me out from under his seat and set me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by. When I looked at me and his hands, I had the cow's blood all over him. I was so scared I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight. Then Mr. McGilder started asking you questions, I suppose? Who you were, and why you were hiding under the seat? Yeah, he did, only that's not all. What do you mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you? How? He made me swear about what I seen and what I did. And what he was going to do after the calf was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. Why did that? He said he let me scarp it before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. You said McGilder meant you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch dark compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, Mr. McGilder sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I had the feather COVID in the floor. I had a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGilder did that and dragged me out here by my arm. That's when I saw it. I was on the floor next to the old geezer, would have been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one with the D took off me at Winterbanks. So the music box disc was there, on the floor of the omnibus? Not for long. McGilder spotted it straight away. He backed up smartish and stuffed it in his inside pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago, at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. And the bog trotter told me. I went to mail a word of it to no one. Oof, that's slang for Irish right there. Because it was so dark under the sea in the cat, I think. I'm pretty sure bog trotter is supposed to be a slang term for Irishmen. I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably that was McGilder getting on board. It's either Irish or Rich, and I don't know which of the two it is. I assume Irish. Nah, not only him. Oh, because I definitely heard the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilder and the victim. Mr. Thrice fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilder claimed he was slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in the carriage, I'm on take with a fierce tiredness and always succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that went exactly true. No, everyone was asleep. I could hear him talking the whole time in low voices. What? What are they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGildy and the victim knew each other. So McGildy was lying, as I suspected. Oh. I knew it wasn't going to take long before someone raised the alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So, when the cab came to a stop, McGildy told me to idle back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two kids from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right, and after they were gone, Mr. McGildy asked the driver to do him a favour. A favour? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Winterbanks. Okay, she snapped up the money and ran off to pulp this coke as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. McGildy opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there. But not without conditions. I see. Conditions. What were Mr. McGildy's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean. No telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye, the fiend's been telling me overcoat the deposit with the pawnbroker hereabouts. I want you lads to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right, I'll come to fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You have to hang on to it until then, is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you have to go to the pawn shop, win the bank so it is, and you have to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited and any old fiend can come along and buy it. Yeah, but I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now, if you go against me. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I know that. The coppers? Aye, they'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What it is that you might say, and what it is that you won't. After we got over it all, I plucked it, got away from there as fast as I could. He had the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I had to fetch it the next day, I want to go dark. So, McGildy planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. Oh. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it so he couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew he had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGildy would have... In a heartbeat, would have had the lot of us chased out of there if he'd wanted. And then where could we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But, on foot now, eh? Go on, Billy, you must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favour. A favour? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Ah? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork, or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy. Is that it? Something like that. Miss Susato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. Aww. I don't need no one to stick up for me though. No lawyer or nothing. Oh, poor Ginny. She seems to love me. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Winterbanks now. Yes! Perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done there. I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's up and up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating our Winterbanks. Although, something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. And on that heartstring, I think that is where we are actually going to leave. How much time do I have? Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is where I'll have to leave off for the day. This is a shorter one, I know. But unfortunately, the next investigation section is really long, and I don't actually have enough time to get through it all. So, we're going to have to... I know, Wolfie. It's just, I have something in an hour and a half, and I have to eat dinner first. So, it is going to, unfortunately, have to call it a night here. Because this next investigation is like an hour long. And I just don't have time for that, not if I want to eat dinner. So, you know, we'll be back next week. And hopefully soon I'll be able to do some longer ones of this game. Because I don't want to be breaking it up too much. It's just, right, this is the finale of the first game. This case is really long. It's I think it's 4 investigations and 3 trials. And we're in investigation 4. So, yeah, there's a lot of trial left. And then we have a whole nother game that actually explains everything else. So that's exciting. So we'll be playing a lot of Ace Attorney yet. For months. I'm hoping to finish it up by the end of June. But we'll be playing a lot of Ace Attorney yet. Oh yeah, there's so much game left. Alright, so, chat. As always, big thanks to our patrons who made the stream possible. If you want to help support the stream, please do consider heading over to patreon.com/LudoHistory and doing that. Additionally, right, if you support at the $25 level, $25 a month, then you get to pick a game. And we'll be making our return to a patron-suggested game this week. Next stream is going to be on Tuesday, a little bit earlier in the day, and we're going to be playing, returning to, I should say, Pyre, which was a lot of fun. We've got a couple of weeks of that yet, so yeah, we're going to be doing that this week, this coming Tuesday, and then the Tuesday after that, so I hope you are all looking forward to it. I am going to have a great time with it, and also I'm not ready to let any of my favorite characters go. Alright. In the meantime, I hope you all have a good remaining part of your weekend, a good start to your weeks. It's been a lot of fun, and I will catch you next time. Okay? Bye.